I don't really know why this is being advertised as a comedy. I mean, it seems pretty realistic to me. As far as I know, this is actually a documentary of the 2000 election. The campaign is directed by Roach, and it stars Will Ferrell, Zach Galifianakis, Jason Sudeikis, Dan Aykroyd, John Lithgow, and Dylan McDermott. Now, Will Ferrell, as he generally is in his movies, is the best congressman ever. He always plays like the best ever of whatever it is he's doing, whether it's a basketball player or a fashion model or a race car driver. He's always the best, most American of whatever it is that he is attempting to do. He's been congressman for so long, no one ever actually runs against him. He always wins, until Zach Galifianakis says, you know what? I'm gonna try and do that. I'm gonna run for Congress, because it would be a lot of fun. Yeah, that's his voice in the movie, so if you're annoyed by that, yeah, that's gonna be a problem. So this movie really is about the political bouts they go through and how they fight with one another and try to make each other increasingly look even worse in the public eye. Now, I'm a fan of a lot of Roach's comedies. I like the Austin Powers movies. Meet the Parents is actually one of my favorite comedies ever. And going into this movie, I didn't really know what to expect because I missed the screening of it. It was on the same night as The Bourne Legacy, and I chose that over this, and so I went and I saw it Friday night. I heard so many mediocre things about it. I like Will Ferrell. I like Zach Galifianakis. Galifianakis is actually one of my favorite stand-up comedians. I think he is a masterful comedian at improv, especially. And this movie really didn't deliver for me at all. I laughed a few times in the movie, a few chuckles here and there. I like these stars, they're good at what they're doing, but this just, it wasn't really that funny, and I was so shocked by that, considering all the talent in this movie. And who actually sits down and goes, guys, Dan Aykroyd, John Lithgow, Zach Galifianakis, Jason Sudeikis, top it off with Will Ferrell. Step number 2, we're going to waste that talent, and people are going to be wondering why it wasn't really that funny. I'm being a little harsh here, but you know, when you go into these movies and you have like this giant slew of hilarious people, you really expect it to be hilarious, and it was alright. I'll tell you who surprised me the most in this movie, and it's funny because he's actually the one who is least known for comedy. That's Dylan McDermott. He was actually really funny in this movie, and I think the fact that he isn't as known for comedy actually lent a lot to his performance. He plays this guy who just comes in and slaps Zach Galifianakis around. He's supposed to whip him up into shape and make him look like a model. American, you know? He definitely added something to the film, and I was surprised by his performance. It's so cool to see Dan Aykroyd in a movie, but it's like, what the heck, dude? You're funny. You are a funny guy. Let's be funny. But he wasn't funny. There are good things about this movie. These are talented actors, and when the jokes hit, they hit. And there was definitely some funny scenes in this movie. A lot of people have said this already in their reviews, but I agree. The dinner table scene I thought was very funny. I like Galifianakis more in this movie than Will Ferrell. I thought he was funnier. He had a comedic sense even about his composure. I just felt like Will Ferrell was phoning a lot of this movie in, and I like him a lot, and I think he's very funny. But this just kind of came off as his typical, I'm the big American here, and I'm going to do everything better. I'm going to get all the chicks I want. I'm going to do all this and everything. It was just like, it was just the same. Now, I like the guy, but at this point, I would like to see something different. My biggest problem with this movie, though, it seems like they tried to mask poor jokes or something that just wasn't funny by just throwing in a cuss word. I think that people use swearing in movies a lot of times, especially in comedies, to cover over the fact that they can't think of what to say. And it just wasn't funny after a while, and I could tell even the audience laughter was dying down with each consecutive use of a swear word, and it was just like, it's not funny anymore. It's just really not that funny, which is shocking considering the talent involved. I'm going to give the campaign a C-. I wouldn't really suggest seeing it. If you're a hardcore fan of Zach Galifianakis, I would, though, because he is very funny in this movie, I think. It's just that Will Ferrell really didn't add much to this movie, and I was really surprised. So out of the 3 movies that have come out this weekend, Bourne Legacy, Hope Springs, and this, I liked Hope Springs the most. You know, I mean, it's the one that more than likely you aren't going to see, but I would suggest seeing it if you want to see a movie that is actually very sweetly funny, with some good comic timing and great performances and a good script as well. And as always, guys, if you like this review, you can subscribe to my channel and get Stuckmanized.